Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Amy Pierce Sanders, and I am a career life enthusiast. And you're probably wondering, what in the world does that even mean? A career life enthusiast, Amy? Um, what that means is I believe that career and life are interconnected. And I believe that as a society, we've done a disservice to our current children and to all of us as adults because we've pushed ourselves into careers and places where it doesn't spark and fill our soul. And if we're not happy in our career, where we spend a vast majority of our time, then we tend not to be happy in our life. And thereby, we're yelling at our partner, kicking the dog, hopefully not, because I am an animal lover. We're not doing the things that we love to do to keep things up. Hi, Brandy. Welcome. So glad you're here. Um, so, what we're going to talk about today is vision boards that apply to your child so you can learn about your kiddos. And that ties to my hope is throughout today, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a tia, a tio, a neighbor, a coach, a foster parent, that you will walk away with some nuggets of information that will help you learn about those littles or even bigs in your life. This is not relegated to elementary school or high school, college. You might want to do this as a fun exercise with the adult children in your life so you can learn more about them. And in turn, they can learn a little bit more about you as well. So, my primary goal through E3 Coaching Studio is to help people, as if you're a student, to learn what that next step is. Is that next step after high school for your post secondary? Is it going to college? Is it taking a gap year? Is it going into the military? Is it going to trade school? What is it that sings to your heart? So I work with students in that way, and then I work with adults in the exact same way because whether you're 8 or 80, oftentimes we're trying to figure out what we want to be when we grow up. Or as adults, maybe we want to achieve something in our professional life, but we need somebody to walk alongside us to do so. So I welcome you today, and I'm so glad that you're here. Um, so, tools for a vision board. We're going to go real simple today. I just have a poster board that I got at the dollar store for 79 cents here. I have some markers, glue, or if you prefer, you can use tape. For the sake of simplicity today, so you guys aren't watching me fumble with glue, then I'll be utilizing tape. But please know that you can go as simple as you want with these vision boards, or I recently had some young lady who is very into bedazzling and decorating. So she outdid her whole board with jewels and different things like that. So it's all about you and the child that is in your life that you're walking through this with. Excuse me. Or you may prefer to use a cork board, a magnet board, whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong when it comes to creating a vision board. As the adult watching this, there might be a few kiddos, and so I want you to keep this to heart as well, kiddos. Uh, Adults, I need you to raise your right hand, say, I am a co pilot, not the pilot. Let's do it again. I am the co pilot, I am not the pilot. Why is that so important to me? The reason so many adults are currently in roles that don't speak to them, and what I mean by that is their authentic self, their gifts, their strengths, their talents, where we are as people, is because we did what our parents did, or we did what others told us we should be doing. And what I mean by that is what's in the media, what's hot. Right now, IT has been at the forefront for several years. Healthcare has been at the forefront for several years. Artificial intelligence. And so, because those are being promoted in the media, we're pushing our kiddos to go into those fields. And it's fantastic if it resonates with them. But if the only reason we're pushing the littles in our life towards those fields is because they're going to provide good income or a solid security base, there's nothing wrong with having those wishes for your child. But if that's the only reason, it's not going to be a good fit. And we're going to set them up for a less than desirable life. So again, adults, co-pilot, not pilot. And what I mean by that is your goal is to kind of guide in the beginning of this vision boarding process. So you might also want to create a vision board at the same time, so you're not focusing so much on the child, because your goal is to guide and to look for things that reveal items or thoughts that you weren't aware of, and also a way to spark conversation with the littles in your life. And so when I say guide, this board, I apologize, tried to do it so you could see the words better. But typically when I work with a student on vision boarding, there are 6 categories, but these categories don't have to apply to the student in your life. So my 6 categories are self, learn, family, school, friend, and dream. And that's pretty much the only guiding that you'll be doing, other than saying to the little in your life, pick it out, whether it's a word or a picture that sparks and speaks to you. And don't think too hard about it. Just cut it out. And often with difficulty, as adults, we try to say, okay, and then put it on the board. But we're all unique. And so your child might want to prefer to cut everything out and then place it on the board. Or they might want to just start slapping on as they cut. That's totally up to them. Again, you are the co-pilot, not the pilot. And I need to step back because I also forgot to talk about, I talked about tools, but how are you going to vision if you don't have material? So I no longer subscribe to magazines, preferring to get my information electronically. So I'm not creating so much waste. But what I was able to do was call our local library and secure these for free. They are very cheap as well at thrift stores. And then one of my good friend Brandy, after our last video, shared with me, she actually only had one magazine in her house. It happened to be a Time magazine. And she was amazed at the content she was able to find in that Time magazine, just the words of inspiration, encouragement, and things that she was looking for. So you don't need a ton of magazines. They don't even have to be things that speak to you personally. Say you like popular science versus Oprah. If you have an Oprah magazine, you're still going to find things in there. And yes, Brandy, I will repeat those categories. So the 6 categories that I work with are self, learn, family, school, friend, and dream. So hopefully you caught those. If not, I will make sure that I put that information into the comments after we finish this live video. So we're ready to get started on talking about revealing and sparking. just so you know, I did hold these up earlier. What I've done is pulled information from past vision boarding sessions, and I'm going to share what that sparked for the parent, for the child, because yours will be unique with your individual um, little human you're working with. First one, who grows up and says, I want to work in the insurance industry? I can tell you from working in higher education and also being a recruiter for many years, nobody says this. And the insurance industry wishes they would. So, working with a child once, I was completely surprised when they cut out the gecko from Geico. That child actually thought, oh gosh, 14 years old, that they would like to work in the insurance industry because it protected people against loss. And so that's something revealing. You would never think about a 14-year-old, and surprising, especially if you don't have a background in the insurance industry, because we are very much a generational society still here in America. But the next thing is, as a parent, as an adult working with your student, you don't get to choose where this goes. Why is this important? Because this could go, the gecko could say, I want to learn more about what kinds of careers are in the insurance industry. It might say, I'm dreaming of being in the insurance industry. Or self, I want to learn what skills are needed and go from there. For right now, we're going to throw this under learn. Let's see here. Other ones that we have. Okay. A similar one. This isn't all, this is about your whole child, not career development specifically. It can be if you were wanted to focus on a certain area. But I had a college student, male, that I was working with, and naughty or nice came up. And what revealed in our sessions was he felt very conflicted as a person. I don't want to share too much, but as an individual, he felt like he was nice on the outside, but that his inner thoughts were naughty. And through additional discovery, what we were able to figure out was he was struggling with his mental wellness and able to get him connected with some help. So you can see the power of how these scrapbook pieces can talk to oneself. So naughty or nice, we are going to throw that up into self. And beware, I won't make you sit through everything going on the board. I just want to give you a visual. Also, I forgot what I was going to say, so I'll come back to it. Other pieces that we have revealed is cutting out a pair of glasses because a high school student was dreaming of being an optometrist. Her parents had no idea when we were walking through the vision board exercise, and that brought something to light for them because they were both in management, one in retail, one in restaurant, and so that wasn't a field they were even aware of. They were able to spark conversation and begin doing research. So she had thrown that under dream. Get our glasses the right way. But again, it's totally up to you. Other pieces that we found are you are not alone. A very similar piece was shared by a little that I was working for. And when I say littles, I'm a Gen Xer, so it's any millennial, Zer, anybody out there younger than me. So no offense, but you are not alone. And what that revealed was that student was feeling very alone in life. And she also felt that a lot of her friends felt very alone. And so her and her mom were able to have some conversation and raise the awareness for her mom to make sure she was doing deep dives instead of, hey, how was your day? So this one, because there was a revealing of friends as well, I'm going to throw that up there. Speaking of friends, one thing that we've seen a lot this year is kiddos are missing their friends. I mean, who isn't? We as adults are missing our friends, our colleagues. We have access to Zoom and Teams and Google Meet and all of these tools. And so we've seen a lot of this. And so this can create conversation of, yes, we all might not be together, but can we get our kiddo on a Zoom call and play Pictionary with a couple of his friends? Just ensuring that we as adults are aware of their struggles. Here's a picture of an iWatch. It can mean lots of things. I want an iWatch. I'm dreaming of getting an iWatch. But for a particular student on the cusp of finishing high school and moving on to college, was I actually want to be a product designer. So it wasn't so much about the watch as an interest. And so that was able to parlay into conversation with the schools that he was looking at so that they could go from there. There we go. Music. You might have a very artistic child who has an interest in the music industry. As we know, to become Kesha, there's very few of those. But what can we do with this interest in music? We can begin looking at what are all of the ancillary occupations around music. It could be composition. It might writing jingles for commercials. It might be playing in movies in the background in the orchestra. There are innumerable occupations beyond just being the superstar. This is a big one that I've worked with a lot of folks on this year is back to school. And what does that mean for them? For some students, it's, I want to get back to normal. I want to go back to my 5 days a week. And so I could be with my friends and I can learn in a normal way. Others, however, have revealed back to school means a little bit of anxiety of, oh, I kind of like doing this 3 days remote, 2 days in. It's a little less social pressure. So these words could mean one thing to you and something completely different to the person that you're working with on this. So again, the whole idea of vision boarding with a child in your life, regardless of age, is to reveal and spark. This one was a very powerful piece, confronts her abuser. And for this particular student, without having to say the words out loud, had experienced inappropriate touching with someone in their family, and she was afraid to share that information. It actually had happened quite a long time ago, but through the vision boarding process, she was able to open and reveal herself, and her family was able to get the help they needed and then protect the other folks in their life. Little pieces, 7 sounds science has yet to solve. So a very similar piece was shared by an upper elementary student and revealed that they had an incredible interest around being an investigative scientist, of searching for things that were previously undiscoverable or solving problems. That was a pretty cool revelation at the time. Your kiddos might pull out go-karts, and that's absolutely okay. Meaning they want to be a go-kart pro in the future, and you might have to have a conversation that's not an occupation that's in high demand, but more than likely it's going to go under their dreams or their self. And that's okay because they want to go-kart riding. All of this does not need to be serious. And while we're on that, oftentimes I will work with adults and they're like, why are you putting stuff like that on your board? I like Lunchables. I want more Lunchables, Mom. Again, you are the co-pilot, not the pilot. And so if Abraham is dreaming of more Lunchables in his life, he gets to put Lunchables on his board. Other revelations that we've had is our interests in architecture and design. Parents were aware that the individual loved to draw, but they had only seen the work as a hobby, doing comic strips, comic book type things, and it had never looked at that skill set of drawing and taking it forth of how does this skill that my child is showing me on a regular basis connect to future things. So, architecture from drawing comic books. Same thing with writing. Oftentimes, when a student exhibits an interest in writing, we as adults discourage that because it's not a high paying field, it's not a stable career. Well, we need to open our brains and our minds to things because if our child is sparked and has an innate strength around writing, let's look at what careers are around writing. It's not just writing a book. Maybe it's writing copy materials. Maybe it's becoming a blog writer. I think I have one of those in here. Maybe not, but so it can be all kinds of things. Many of the jobs that your student will be doing in the future does not yet exist. And writing isn't just poetry and fiction. Maybe it's writing technical manuals. You just never know. And that's the beauty of the vision board. It can help reveal those. Other things, again, on a more holistic level, had a student who was struggling with impulse control. Parents had no idea, but he was able to put it up, and that was enabled them to have conversation going forward about what that meant and to get some help. This one, like the gecko from Geico, was very interesting when a student cut out fire alarms and a fire extinguisher. And I personally don't hear of a lot of students or adults who have specifically sought out going into the fireproofing industry, fire prevention. This particular student had been deeply impacted because a friend of his home had burned down, and parents had no idea. They knew it deeply impacted them, but not that it was influencing career choices. Photographer, again, a career that a lot of parents and adults boo-hoo. But again, what fields are out there that go along with photography? At this point in time, we're moving more and more of our world online, and photography speaks. So there are a wealth of careers. Or if your life calling is to live a life of adventure and be a nature photographer, that's okay. We are co-pilots, not pilots, and need to allow those children their dreams. I have a few more that I'm going to share with you, but in the meantime, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment box and we'll get to those momentarily. This one, it's an individual with a deer. What does that mean? So I've had a couple of these. For one student, it meant working out in the environment as a DNR person, Department of Natural Resources, and helping to save wildlife. For another student, it meant that they dreamt of new experiences where they could be in the UP of Michigan seeing elk and deer, or they could be in other parts of the world and experiencing those things. This unfortunately has come up a couple of different times with both male and female littles that I've worked with, has been Slim Fast or other weight loss ads. And common denominator in that is parents did not realize that the student was struggling so hard mentally with their weight or comparing themselves to others. And that has been able to spark conversations around default bodies and we're perfect the way we are. We can always work for more and different things like that. Here's one. Well, two, improve your smile and get the hair, get the life. These come up often, whether it's under self, excuse me, or friend comparison around your friends, or I want to be better. Again, sparking conversations around self-consciousness and being the best that we can be without creating bad habits for individuals. This, we get a lot of this with students. And this is hanging out with friends, going out on adventures. And as adults, we don't need to just leave it at that. What kinds of adventures do you want to have with your friends? What kinds of experiences? What have you done? What do you do there? Normally, when somebody comes back from a sleepover, it's how was it? How did it go? And we don't dig deeper. And this can serve as a reminder to dig deeper. And just a few more. This photo, something very similar, a student shared. and they wanted to be an event planner. This was from a household that didn't host a lot of parties. So the parents were completely unaware of what this picture would mean. I can imagine as well that this photo could apply to a student who wants to become a food blogger as well. So, so as you can see, creating a vision board with a child, a grandchild, an adult child in your life can reveal a lot of things and spark a lot of conversation. If you create a vision board with someone in your life, I would love for you to come back and drop a picture of it in the comments. Or if you don't want it tied to you personally, please email it to me at hello@e3coachingstudio.com and I will post it anonymously with your permission. So I appreciate the time that you've given me today. Would love to allow another minute or two to see if there's any questions out there. If not, I hope to see you in the future with E3 Coaching Studio. So thank you, Carla. I do love how it opens the lines of communication. It's so important because we have so many hidden, not purposefully, thoughts and feelings. And it can also reveal things that we don't know as littles or adults. So thank you. Okay, again, doesn't look like we have any questions, but I am so grateful that you chose to spend some time with me today. And I hope you found some valuable information. And if you do create a vision board, would love to have you drop it in the comments. Thank you. Make today amazing.